All right, continuing our coverage of the massive explosion in northwest Baltimore, we're going to dip into the coverage from our CBS station WJZ in Baltimore. Let's listen.
Like, when I initially got there, I could hear a voice just saying help. It's crazy. Like, it's something that I don't ever want to see ever again. I don't want to relive it ever again.
Dean, I know you did all you could. Can you describe the moments from when you heard what happened to when you saw what happened to what drove you to go down to the scene?
I'm gonna be honest. I was on the porch, and it shook the house. Two blocks across, 2 blocks over. So basically 4 blocks. And I took off running. And I had no shoes. Somebody had to bring me my shoes. I took off running down the street. Neighbors were looking at me like I was kind of crazy. Like, what is going on? Where is it? Where is it? So once I got to the alley, I could see the smoke, and I just took off, and a couple other neighbors joined with me. And I was just like, let's just see if there's anybody in here. And we started calling out, is anybody in there? Is anybody in there? And I could hear like a voice, like, help, help. So we just started digging in, moving bricks. I mean, everything, all kinds of debris, like parts of a fence. Like, we wasn't even thinking. Like, it's just, you know, you can hear gas, like, shh, in the background. It was crazy.
You could hear gas? Could you smell gas?
Oh, absolutely. It was live power. It was a live power, live wire in the middle of the alley. It was like, because the telephone pole split. So it was crazy.
Live now. That was from Dean, one of the neighbors here who lives a couple blocks away. You're looking live now at some neighbors being treated here. Many, 4 of them, we are told, have been transported from the scene here, but there are other injuries as well, as you see live there now. Just past that scene there, over that tree line, is where we parked several of our cars next to an Applebee's, where employees there basically told us when we first got here, oh my gosh, we heard that thing go off from inside of the restaurant, and they described it as if it was going off in their kitchen with how loud of a bang it was. You heard from Dean what he described as hearing the gas. This is described from Blair Adams from Baltimore City Fire as a major gas explosion, and that's something that certainly who you just heard from, Dean, described that gas when he got there. Now, I talked to him, Antoinetta, some other people who were on scene before search and rescue crews got here, and they said they didn't smell any gas, but rather they heard it. And again, it's right down the street here on Labyrinth Road, about a block and a half down from where we are now on this side. We did just see another ambulance go through at the beginning of our hit just a matter of 5 minutes ago, where we are told there is still a recovery operation of one more person that you may have heard from Captain Cindy a few moments ago as well. So again, to recap, 6 people total injured, one woman confirmed dead, and 4 people taken to the hospital in serious condition as people still here wait for some positive news. And there has been some, as they've taken some people away, you've heard the neighborhood erupt in applause. So there is some positivity to come from this as people wait to hear some news here from the scene. Max?
That was the next question I was just about to ask you, was if there was a sense of optimism since that good news came around with the applause and the thumbs up, because obviously when we spoke to you maybe 45 minutes ago, it was a very emotional interview with the possible woman screaming, possibly hearing about some really bad news. Has the sense of gravity, if you will, kind of lightened the air a little bit since that good news transpired just a few minutes ago?
Well, I mean, it's a mixture, Max. In these situations, people are always looking for something positive to come from it, but of course there is that sense of gravity, as you mentioned, sense of seriousness, especially when you hear presumably family members screaming at the fact that they don't know, or perhaps they do know where their family members are. So there is still a lot of anxiety here in the air. You heard from Antoinetta about a half hour ago. I think she was joking to kind of dull the pain a little bit, but she said, oh, I needed to take 2 anxiety pills. And I asked her, how's your anxiety now? And she said, still high. So, you know, this is something that she wants to get out of her mind. As she was here before, she's been on a neighbor's front porch, is where we interviewed her, just kind of being consoled by neighbors and trying to get through these hours now, as this has happened now about 2 hours ago, Max.
Okay, Paul, thank you. We're starting to get more information pouring into Television Hill here at WJZ right now. We're hearing the crews are working to turn off the gas to the buildings in the immediate area. Once the gas is is off, BGE can begin to safely assess the situation, including inspections of the BGE equipment. We now go live back to Avajoy Burnett, who's live at the scene. Avajoy, last time we spoke with you, we heard about the clothes being thrown on those electrical lines and that window that was hanging on side of that building. What can you tell us now?
Now, we wanted to get an idea of the damage, the extent of the damage here, Max, because we told you at least a block away some of the homes on the other side of this blast were damaged. So we came a little bit closer to the scene, and we want to paint a picture for you. That is where the homes exploded. 3 homes exploded. You could see just the crater in the middle of everything. To the left of me right now, if you go down this aisle here, you will see every single home that I'm looking at has a window or a door or something that's been blasted out. That shows you the extent of this gas explosion. And then if you come to the other side, it's more of the same. We have windows that are shattered. You see this gentleman here, he's cleaning up the glass. And as you walk around in this block, you will hear people sweeping, and all you will hear is a clanking of the glass that's been shattered. If you look at some of the windows, you'll see that the curtains have fallen down, not only on the first floors, but the second floors as well. And I counted, just from my vantage point, at least 16 homes right now where I'm standing that have been impacted. That's not counting the homes on the other side over here that we told you guys about earlier today. Many of the people in this area, they are just kind of hanging out outside because they've been told not to go inside. And we got a statement from BGE. I will read a portion of it for you. They said they got the call about the situation a little bit before 10 o'clock this morning, and crews, they're working to turn off the gas in the buildings in the immediate area. And once the gas is off, they say they can begin to safely assess the situation, including inspections of BGE equipment. So at this point, people are just kind of waiting to get the all clear before they go back inside. The backyard that we're standing in right now, one of the ladies I spoke with, she's sitting under her porch, and I asked her if they had electricity, and she said she doesn't know. They don't even want to attempt to go in to try to survey the damage because everything is so shaky at this point, and they want to be careful about everything that they're doing. But once again, from this vantage point, the big story, other than the unfortunate, the very tragic situation of the people who were hurt or the one person who was killed, is the damages to all of the homes in this area. And what will people be doing tonight and tomorrow, if they're not able to go into their homes? We want to let you listen to Baltimore City fire officials on what they're saying about the situation. Let's take a listen.
It was just before 10 o'clock this morning when the fire department responded to Labyrinth and Reisterstown Road for a report of some sort of explosion. Once firefighters was on the scene, it was pretty obvious that some sort of explosion did in fact occur, involving a total of homes. At this time, there were 5 people that were involved in that, 3 of which were transported in serious condition to the hospital. We have 1 adult woman who was pronounced deceased on the scene, and we are actively recovering 2 additional people. In fact, 1 person was rescued and being transported just moments ago. Right now, it's unclear on what caused the explosion. We are continuing to search for any additional occupants that may or possibly could have been in the homes. And again, the cause remains under investigation.
So you're still actively looking possibly for 1 individual?
We have our eyes on 1 additional person that we're trying to pull out right now.
Unless if they are a child?
At this time, it's unclear on the age or gender. We don't have the information right now. It's still a pretty active scene.
Tell us about the 2 people that just...
I'm sorry?
Is that person responding to...
We don't have that information right now, but we have our eyes on that person.
2 people just came out on stretchers. I asked one lady, "Are you okay?" She gave a thumbs up, and another just came out. Can you tell me where they were, what was involved in that rescue?
It was 3 homes involved, so we're not sure where they were in either of their homes or what floor they were on. But what we do know is that they were beneath all of the rubble.
Can you describe the rescue then and the feeling among the people?
What's the question?
Can you describe the rescue and the feeling among the rescuers?
It's a labor-intensive rescue. Again, it was a major gas explosion. So you have homes that were, pretty much crumbled. A ton of debris on the ground. So we're pulling and trying to comb through to see if we can find any additional occupants.
Bye. Okay, so back here on this location, right where the homes, the three homes, pretty much exploded earlier today. I just wanted to show you one pretty incredible scene here. You see this telephone pole. The force of that blast pushed it over. It splintered at the bottom, and all of those wires are dangling or hanging somewhere else. And it just seems like it's just a matter of moments. Anything could let that thing fall over. That's just the extent of the damages that we're seeing here. And once again, every single home that we counted on this block right here behind me, every single one, I'm not exaggerating, and all of the homes right in front of me, they have at least a window or a door that's been shattered. Right now, it's clean up and waiting to see when it will be safe to go back inside. Back to you guys.
Have a joy. Thank you. Obviously, this is going to be an all-day, all-night type of operation to clean everything up. We're going to go back live to Annie Rose Ramos, who was speaking to a woman who was trying to get somebody out of that rubble and then actually aggravated her back not too long ago. She was actually in a car crash, but really disregarded everything to try to help somebody else out. Annie Rose.
That's exactly right, Max. But first, I want to give you a look at what BG&E is doing. If you can see there, just right there, BG&E is going from house to house, monitoring the gas levels, making sure that it's safe for people to go back inside. People have been outside of their houses for now just a little over 2 hours. That's why you can see everybody kind of sitting outside on their stoop, sitting outside on their driveways or on the street, waiting, because just after this explosion, police came to every house asking people to stay outside. They said it was not safe. They did not know if the gas was contained, and that is why you will see BG&E literally going into people's homes, measuring the amount of gas inside to make sure that it's safe for everybody to go outside. It's hot. People have been out here for a while. You see families sort of setting up camp, doing what they can to stay cool. But it has been a very long time for people to kind of remain outside. And so that is what BG&E is currently doing in these neighborhoods, just to make sure that it remains safe. But Max, as you said a little bit earlier, that's exactly right. We spoke to someone who had heard the explosion, ran out, was actually barefoot. She wasn't even wearing any shoes. She grabbed some from her relative and ran out and heard people screaming from under the rubble. And that's when she tried to do all that she could, along with a few of her neighbors, to help.
Okay, Annie Rose, thank you. I'm glad you mentioned the weather.
I came downstairs and all I heard was this tremendous explosion. I couldn't move. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what. I ran and thought something was falling. And when I went outside to see if anybody had hit a car or anything, everybody was outside. And we were all looking around, and the lady across the street said a house blew up somewhere in our area. But it shook my whole house. And my neighbor down on the other side of the street, she was on the end, it blew out her window like this house here. But it just shook the house. It was frightening.
And what did you feel? What did it feel like?
It felt very scary. I was about to cook some pancakes in the morning, but then my mom called me and said if I was okay or not. But I was okay and stuff. So, yeah, the whole house shook, and the little cross that my mom has, it fell on the ground. And we've just been up, and we decided to go to the mailbox and just investigate to see what happened.
I thought it was one of my family members at first. I have a lot of family members on that block as well that live directly across the street from there, okay? So the first thing I did was run outside, and I looked for my mother. She was right there at the car, so I made sure she was okay. When I seen her, I ran to look for everybody. The first thing I looked at was to see that, as you can see, everyone's windows were blown out. Next, I seen the houses, 3 houses were collapsed. Then I seen someone else, he was helping, you know, to get the young lady out there.
And so you can kind of just hear how people responded, doing all that they can before emergency services were able to get here and on the ground in order to help. But I want to show you here, Max, people are just taking out trash bags, trying to pick up the pieces of the broken glass, everything that's sort of shattered around them. They're trying to use this time that they have while they're all outside to just kind of pick up the destruction that this explosion left in their midst. A lot of people are trying to run back inside quickly to grab trash bags and cleaning supplies to do what they can because they know that the authorities are still trying to check every single house to make sure that there isn't any more gas inside and that there isn't anything leaking, but they're trying to do what they can to stay outside, stay safe, and just wait for this all to be clear. Max?
Annie Rose, thank you. I'm glad you mentioned the weather because that's one of the underrated factors in all this. We're getting a little bit of a break. We did get a little bit of a break from those hot temperatures, but it is beaming hot outside. And of course, we have the morning temperatures in the 70s, and then it would go to a high of 93. But that doesn't begin to express the damage of this. The heat indices are going to bring everything up to 102 degrees. So, Annie Rose, stay safe. Let me know if you have any more updates as they become available. So if you're just joining us, we're following a massive gas explosion in northwest Baltimore. The explosion happened near the 4200 block of Brook Hill Road. Here's a map locator of everything that's happening right now. The locator's on 6500 block of Reisterstown Road. This is right in the middle of, the big-time businesses and the residents' homes that are in that area right now. Our reporters were parking over at Applebee's Grill and Bar, the Steak Buster, the Giant Food grocery store is right there. And now the fire department says there was a major gas explosion. One woman is dead, and at least 4 people were taken to the hospital in serious condition. Fire crews are still searching, with 1 person dead. At least 4 people are seriously hurt, 6 people involved right there, and several fire departments are assisting. We heard about Baltimore City Fire, Baltimore County Fire, and Howard County Fire Department all assisting in this huge, devastating explosion. Let's go to the